What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sector for Nerds, and welcome to another episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars Retro Discussions. Today we're here to talk about Season 1, Episode 22, Hostage Crisis. We have made it, you guys, to the season finale of Season 1. This is absolutely incredible. The fact that we've gone through over, 22 episodes of this show, including the movie as well. I've been so happy with this series so far, you guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I think I've said it a couple times now, but this is genuinely the most fun I've ever had on YouTube. Like, putting videos together, creating them. It's all credit to just how much I love the Clone Wars. So thank you guys for your support of this season, you guys. Next week is going to be Christmas, so what we're going to be doing on that day is going through my overall thoughts on Season 1 of Star Wars The Clone Wars, talking about the good, maybe some bad, maybe a little bit of ugly. I'm also going to be responding to fan questions and comments that you guys have left for me over the past couple weeks. I would promote you guys to do it more, but I feel like by the time that this video goes up, I will have already begun working on that video, so hopefully everybody that wanted to get their questions in got them in. But if there is something that you guys could do right now, and that is to like this video and subscribe to my channel. So let's start talking about this episode. This was an episode directed by Giancarlo Volpe. Shout out to him. I know him as a director from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And this episode was written by Ogun Mahani. I hope I pronounced his name right. If I didn't, I completely apologize. Y'all know how terrible I am with names on this channel. The cookie for this episode: a secret shared is a trust form. And now, you guys, let me turn it over to the man who has become a legend here on this channel throughout Season 1, has gotten himself over. I've been told by several people that he was a great addition to my channel, and I'm being completely serious. So without any further ado, guys, let me bring him on. Intro guy, for the last time in Season 1 of Star Wars The Clone Wars. Take it away. Danger looms. Despite recent victories in the Outer Rim, criminal minds plot at the very heart of the Republic. The bounty hunter CAD Bane has assembled some of the deadliest criminals in the galaxy and plans a daring attack to seize members of the Senate. What can be the aim of this despicable act? Thank you, intro guy, and you heard him correctly, folks. CAD Bane. It is time. I guess I don't know this for sure because I was never on social media back in the day, but I would have to imagine, you guys, that CAD Bane was one of those characters that just from the start immediately took people's attention, because he certainly did me. Now, let me just start out by saying this, you guys. Do I think that this is like one of the cooler things that CAD Bane has ever done? No. Because, you guys, I feel like, well, this wasn't like a Senate episode. In a way, it also kind of was. And I feel like one of the things I've always been vocal about on my channel is how much I just don't care about Senate episodes. I talked about it in my, in my video where I ranked through all of the Clone Wars episodes. If y'all haven't seen that video before, y'all should check it out. I have it here on my channel. It's like my most viewed video here on the channel. I don't give a crap about politics in the real world. I don't give a crap about politics in the fake world. This to me was a cool character doing an uncool thing. You know what would have been really cool for CAD Bane to do? To break into, I don't know, maybe something like the Jedi Temple. Maybe he could steal like an important Jedi artifact or something like that. Now that would be cool. But this opening scene alone, you guys, of the episode had me in awe, just with the Senate commandos approaching Bane and Bane just having no fear in his face, just like, how about you fellas step aside?
I got business with the Senate. How about you fellas step aside?
On your knees. Raise your hands. Slowly.
Son, I wouldn't be so hasty if I were you.
Man, shout out to Corey Burton, who voices CAD Bane, along with many other characters in the Clone Wars. He does a phenomenal job. We're introduced to a lot of different bounty hunters in this episode. Another one that comes to mind, you guys, the little guy, Robenito, voiced by D. Bradley Baker, the man who wears many hats on this show. He's just this little guy, he's messing, it seems like he's a very tech-savvy guy. He's messing with all the power in the Senate building. Another one that comes to mind, storyline, you guys, and someone that I feel like a lot of Star Wars fans would have known before the Clone Wars is Aurra Sing. This is our first time seeing her since the Phantom Menace. Now, I remember, you guys, watching through the Clone Wars, because, like, Aurra Sing, like, she's just a background character in that movie, right? Like, she's in that, just that one moment when all the pod racers are racing, and you get her for, like, 2 seconds. So I remember, like, when I would go back to watch the Phantom Menace and be like, oh, hey, that's Aurra Sing, I know her. But she's also someone that's had a lot of spin-off comics and action figures, so she was a very well-known character throughout the fandom. One of the things that they talked about in the featurette for this episode was that Dave wanted Aura's sniper to have a specific sound to it. That way, like, you know, when you hear that sound, like, oh, you know, shit's about to go down. I guess the same could kind of be said with, like, CAD BANE'S blasters as well, because CAD BANE'S have a specific noise to it as well. One of the things that Dave said that he wanted to do with this episode is make it intense and make it dark. And I'll give him credit on this. I think he succeeded at both.
I really wanted it to be intense. I really wanted it to be dark. And you get a pretty intense level of violence in the episode. CAD Bane is a new bounty hunter. He has to be instantly effective, kind of on the level that I always wanted to see Boba Fett work on in the old classic trilogy.
What you see in this episode is villains actually being effective at their craft. You know, like, I know a lot of fans, like, they want to see the bad guys win. They want to see them be credible. And I think this episode was definitely a good way of doing that. Like, if this is going to be your introduction to these characters, then, you know, the first time you see them on screen, you see them winning. You see them accomplishing what it is that they set out to accomplish. And it was funny because Henry Gilroy brought up this idea of, what if there was a bounty hunter that, like, had a specialty of fighting Jedi? So when a Jedi shows up on screen, like, they're just unfazed by it. Whereas, like, anyone else would be like, oh my gosh, we gotta get out of here.
We thought, what if there's a guy out there as a bounty hunter who has a specialty of fighting Jedi? So when he knows that there's going to be a Jedi on the scene, he's not bothered. Just about every other bounty hunter is going to be like, ooh, Jedi, I better retreat.
Yeah.
But going back to the intensity and dark thing, you guys, like, you see the assassin droids, like, just murdering all these innocent droids, and it's like, oh my gosh. You see Cad Bane taking a thermal detonator, throwing it into an armory and blowing up a bunch of Senate guards, and then you see the one that's, like, still just, like, struggling to breathe, right? And then Aurra just takes out her pistol and blasts him. And then you have the moment that made me, I remember, like, at 8 years old, again, going back to that 8 years old trope, and probably the last time you'll hear me say 8 years old, because by next season we'll start saying 9 years old. I don't know if I would have been, like, 9 years old directly as these episodes were coming out, but they came out year by year, so we'll just kind of play it like that, you guys. Breaking down the story of my life here. But I remember watching this episode for the first time, and the moment that Cad Bane pulls the blaster out on the senator and just straight up murders him in cold blood, I was like, whoa. Like, it was really an intense moment.
I don't know who you think you are, but I, for one, have no intention of listening to this kind of insolence.
All right, then.
Like, you watch it now and you're like, okay, the dude was a freaking idiot. Like, Cad Bane's got them all, like, surrounded, right? And he's like, everyone just cooperate me. This will be quick and painless. And the senator's like, I'm not going to cooperate with you. Cad Bane's like, okay, bam, kills him. I'm like, well, what did you expect was going to happen? And then I guess we got to talk about, you know, this episode brings back so many memories of the prequels, you know, Senate stuff, and then Anakin and Padmé's romance.
I don't like sand.
I've been dying a little bit each day since you came back into my life.
I'm haunted by the kiss that you should never have given me. You are in my very soul.
It was fine, I guess. I mean, one of the things, you guys, like, okay, the Senate stuff I definitely don't like about the prequels. The Anakin and Padmé relationship is okay, but it's still more on, like, my least side of things that I like about the prequels. Anakin just was, what's the right way of saying it? Anakin was, turned on by his wife throughout most of the episode. I mean, there's the moment at the end of the episode when, like, he is unconscious and then he looks up at Padme and he's just smiling at her and he's gonna put his hand on her and Padme, like, has to stop him because she's like, Annie, we're in front of a bunch of people. And then we see them just making out in the office and it's like, all right. Well, Anakin and Padme are being horny for each other. We've got bounty hunters taking over the Senate building. So let's talk about the scene where Cad Bane first chats with Palpatine, because this is where we start to see, like, why Cad Bane is doing this. And Cad Bane's like, look, if you want your senators free, I would recommend you release Zero the Hutt from your prison. Huh. Okay, Zero, like, I know that name because we see, you know, the Clone Wars movie, big part of that movie. And I'm like, why would he be after Zero? And at this point, by the end of this episode, we still don't know, but that could be something that, you know, we could tackle down the line, right? I love how, you know, Palpatine's trapped in his office with Senator Onfrita, who we meet in the last episode, the one on Ryloth. And I remember when he's like, Onfrita, help me with this store. I'm like, Palpatine, Onfrita is not going to help you with nothing. This man is like the most lazy person, biggest coward, very hungry man. He ain't doing nothing. Another interesting note that I took when watching this episode is that Cad Bane knew who Anakin was, like the moment he saw him. Bane tries to shoot his shot with Padme, because she's like, oh, hello there, little lady. Which is the first time we hear him say that. We hear him say that throughout the Clone Wars to a lot of different people. And he's like, well, aren't you too young and pretty to be a senator? Padme just like looks over, just like the slightest bit, and Cad Bane notices it, and he sees Anakin up there, you know, just in one of the higher levels, and he's like, Skywalker, after him. They realize quickly that Anakin's unarmed because, you know, the Weequay pirate that's with them, one of the assassin droids, they go after Anakin, and he doesn't have his lightsaber, which I think does add another element to these guys being effective and making it that much more intense, because if Anakin just had his lightsaber, he probably could have just, like, rectified the whole situation, right? But it's this idea that he doesn't, so he has to outwit them. So he uses a mind trick on the pirate, right? Like, you have 2 more floors to check, and they separate. Anakin goes after the assassin droid, and I love the way that this scene is shot as well, because you're showing 2 different things going on. You're showing Anakin and the assassin droid going at it, and then you would cut away to the pirate on the upper levels, looking through the other rooms, trying to find Anakin, and then the moment comes when he starts to walk down the stairs, and you're like, oh no, he's coming, Anakin, you gotta do this quick, you gotta do this quick, you gotta finish him. And, you know, fortunately for him, he clutches it just in time to where he defeats the droid. But the pirate gets over there and he notices, there's no lightsaber cuts. That's interesting. So then when they go after Anakin a second time, and they bring Aura Singh as well for this run, and they're able to capture him because, you know, she's shooting at him. Robonito comes from behind, zaps him. Meanwhile, the whole time, Padme's the one who has Anakin's lightsaber. Another thing, guys, that I want to talk about, and I actually can't believe it's taken me this long to bring it up, but I believe this is our first time seeing Senator Bail Organa on screen, right? Senator Organa, you guys, who has a very big role in Revenge of the Sith. We see him play a role throughout other bits of Star Wars as well, especially in like the, you know, the Disney Star Wars stuff like Star Wars Rebels, Rogue One, Kenobi. I was always a fan of Bail Organa, just like Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith, you guys, like my favorite Star Wars movie. Like him, Obi-Wan, and Yoda together is like this trio of like the only heroes we have left at the end of this film. It was something that I very much got into as a fan. So that's why I always say, like, Bail Organa is my favorite senator. I don't give a crap about the Senate, but the fact that he held to Obi-Wan and Yoda, you know, that's pretty cool. Something else I noticed at the end of this episode, like when Anakin's helping all the senators escape, I'm like, oh, Senator Farr is here, and Senator Chuchi is here. 2 characters, you guys, that we met earlier on throughout the show. I don't think either of them had any lines. I think Farr had 1 line, and that's it. But just this idea, you guys, that, like, you know, we have characters that came before, we just have them here as, like, a little cameo, right? Like, that's pretty cool. I think I was just, like, so focused on, like, the stuff that Bane was doing and what Padme and Bail were doing, so I think that's probably why I didn't notice them right away. Once all the bounty hunters left, I'm like, all right, who's all in this room right now? Oh, hey, I know you guys. The other assassin droid that's there ends up getting Zero out of prison. And yeah, we get to see Zero the Hutt, you guys, someone we haven't seen since the Clone Wars movie. I like Zero. Zero's a funny Hutt, for sure. So it's like they're getting ready to leave the Senate building, and the Republic finally gets involved, right? Like, it's about time. The clone troopers arrive. They bust the Chancellor's window, right, to get into his office. They make sure the Chancellor's safe. I think Senator Ta would have gotten, word to them that the Chancellor needs help. Palpatine tried to get a hold of the Jedi Council earlier in the episode, but they had taken out the communication. So what I always assumed at the time, right? Like, surely if the Republic was going to get involved here, surely someone would have contacted the Jedi to let them know what was going on. So then that way, the moment that they know everybody is safe, they can then act on it, right? The clones try to stop them, right? Like, they got them right where they want them, but in the end, Bane's like, all right, Chancellor, I'm afraid it's you that's been foolish with your senators' lives.
You were foolish to think you could get away with this, bounty hunter. Now lay down your arms and come quietly.
No, Chancellor. I'm afraid it is you who have been foolish with your senators' lives. One false move, and the east wing of the Senate building goes up in smoke.
You win, bounty hunter.
Holster 'em.
Stand down.
And I believe that was Commander Fox that was there too, that was leading the attack. He tells everybody to stand down. Bane's got just that evil smile on his face, like, haha, I've won. And he threatens to press the button and everything, right? And I'm just sitting there like, oh, you fiendish bad guys. You won't get away with this.
I already have, Soldier Boy.
Speaking of Zero the Hutt being funny, the scene where Bane's talking with him and he's like, it didn't look like prison had too much, impact on you. And Zero I feel like he was over exaggerating, but I couldn't tell. I mean, actually, I feel like I could have, right? Just the way he delivered those lines where he's like,
oh, you can't imagine the unspeakable things I've suffered. The horror. I doubt I'll ever really recover.
It sounded so sarcastic, but who knows, maybe in his mind that's what actually happened. I don't know.
How about some dead senators as payback?
Anakin still can't help but being around his wife and talking awkwardly with her as everyone's still there. It's like, all right, come on, guys. We could be doing a little better job of hiding this right now.
Another daring rescue, Master Jedi.
I do my best, Senator.
And then I thought to myself, after Bane had pressed the button, right? He's lost all his leverage. We should be going after him right now, right? Because he tells Palpatine earlier in the episode, all right, I'm going to give you your senators back, but don't try anything until the sun sets. And it's like, well, the sun is still clearly out. You've given them a lot of extra time to get you. And that's where I just sat there thinking to myself, why didn't we have the Jedi? The moment that they knew, okay, they've lost their leverage. Go get them now. Get them back. Now, a little bit of foreshadowing, you guys, and I'm not going to give away everything that happens, but we actually do kind of figure out what all went down when Bane was escaping. Tease for future episodes. And the end of the episode is Zero just being like, congratulations on a job well done, bounty hunter. And Bane's just like, time to pay up, Hutt. I don't work for free. And Zero's just like, oh.
Congratulations on a job well done, bounty hunter.
Time to pay up, Hutt. I don't work for free.
Dude, I'm telling you, Zero's the man. Give me more Zero. And I remember you guys at 8 years old watching this episode oh man, the show's over. It's done. And then immediately after the episode, they played a clip, a little teaser, teasing season 2. They're like, the first season of Star Wars The Clone Wars is over. And they start showing new shots of characters that I know but I haven't seen before. And I immediately went, oh, and they go, season 2 is coming. And I'm like, yes, we're getting more. Oh, 8-year-old me was so excited.
The first season of Star Wars The Clone Wars is over. But we've got 2 words that will make it all better. Season 2.
And then I was like, oh, but we have to wait till fall. Because normally how they would do it, right, is they would release the episodes in the fall, right? I think late September, October, something like that. They would carry out and through March or April, something like that. And then we would have to wait like 4 or 5 months until the next set of episodes would be released weekly. But you see like Cad Bane in there, and you see him taking on people like Anakin and Ahsoka, and that made me go, oh, okay, now I'm more excited for Bane. And again, let me just reiterate, it wasn't that I didn't enjoy Bane here. Like, I thought Bane was cool again, but it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, I feel like we're kind of just muddying the waters for myself a little bit because this involves a bunch of Senate stuff, and I've never cared about it. So I feel like it was kind of one of those things like, yeah, it was fine, you know, it was good, I guess. But like, the stuff that we're gonna get with Cad Bane is going forward is freaking brilliant. And a little bit of a teaser for season 2 that I'll kind of leave you guys with. I thought that the whole reason why Darth Sidious hires Cad Bane to do what he does in the next season, I thought was directly related to this episode. Because I'm sure Palpatine was sitting there thinking, okay, this guy just broke into the Senate building. I had no control over it. And this guy plotted a really successful job. He did a great job. Maybe I should hire this guy to do a job for me. But no, that's actually not what happened, because it turns out when you watch the Clone Wars in chronological order, the episodes that we get with Bane in season 2 take place before this episode. So it kind of even ruined that for me. I was like, oh, well, okay then, I guess. So yeah, you guys, I think that wraps us up for this week, you guys. We have made it to the end of season 1, and I cannot wait to start getting into season 2, you guys. Like I said, next week though, we're going to be talking about season 1, talking about my overall thoughts on it. This way it'll at least give you guys some content from me on Christmas for those that are, you know, looking for some content on YouTube, looking for something to watch. I will hopefully be able to entertain you guys for those that are able to watch. And if you can't watch it on Christmas because you're busy, then just watch it the day after. It's fine. And then in 2 weeks' time, you guys, we will begin Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 2. Very, very excited. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with others to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time.
The first season of Star Wars The Clone Wars is over, but we've got 2 words that will make it all better. Season 2. And if you like Bane, get ready. You're gonna be seeing a lot more of him.
Ahsoka, wait! It's a trap!
Because the bounty hunters are here to stay.
You can count on it.
Star Wars The Clone Wars, Season 2. Coming this fall. Only on Cartoon Network.